Omagyanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminithi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Very happy to see all of you. Today we are going to deal with a very important subject matter, that is about how we can act in a manner that will be very useful for us. All this time we have been seeing very carefully many things that we discussed. The dialogue started with Krishna's getting bewildered, and this whole information of Krishna inspiring Arjuna in many different ways, and subsequently Arjuna is able to ask amazing questions of Krishna. And we have been studying chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. In chapter 2, Krishna explained in elaborate detail many subject matters, touching upon them bit by bit. In chapter 3, he zoomed in on the main issue of Arjuna acting in according to his duty, why he should do it, and some intricacies of action. And in chapter 4 now, he's going to give you more deeper information. And we have already passed in chapter 4 till now, as we are discussing. Krishna opens the chapter because he's explaining that knowledge which gets smothered, killed by lust, kama. He explained it in the 3rd chapter. And he's explaining what that knowledge is. And he explains that it is coming down in the parampara, how this transcendental knowledge is descending. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. You remember in the beginning of the 4th chapter, Krishna started explaining that parampara and why it's important to get this knowledge coming in the line of these great acharyas, personalities. There may be many people who speak Bhagavad Gita, but if you don't choose the correct line, you may not get the essence. There are many, many people teaching all sorts of subject matters, but if you don't go to a bona fide institution and approach a person who has got bona fide knowledge from a bona fide way, you won't actually get your knowledge recognized, neither will you actually benefit. So Krishna is explaining that to Arjuna. It's not the easy thing that any Tom, Dick and Harry can understand these things or speak these things. This is rahasyam, and it comes only in that particular university. And then Arjuna asks Krishna, but how do I know that you spoke to Vivaswan, sun god, so far away? How am I supposed to believe all these things? And then Krishna reveals that I and you are not the same. I am God. I am the supreme absolute truth. And he reveals himself to Arjuna for the first time, quickly, who I am, and why do I come, right? What do I do when I come? He gives a quick overview to Arjuna about absolute truth, about the supreme origin, about Godhead and everything. And then he goes further to explain how he has created all the varnashramas and the system which he explained in the 3rd chapter, Evam Pravartitam Chakram, how the liberated souls follow him his path and everything. All that we understood since till now. Today we are going to understand karma with deeper knowledge. Understanding karma with jnana from sloka 16 to 24 is what we're going to do today. Okay? Is that a good overview for you? Now, do you have any highlight to share? Any one of you has a highlight to share from what you studied in the last session? Anybody wants to share anything from the last session? This is part of my ugly questions.
Hello,
I
Maharaj.
don't want to. Yes, go ahead.
Hello. That essence of what I understood is that a Krishna conscious person is never moved for anything, not is he interested in material thing, any kind of material things, and that he is like an ocean which is not moved by the rainfall or anything. That's the gist I understood, Maharaj.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else wants to share anything? Okay, I won't embarrass you too much. Right. This is what and I want to just interrupt here and say, please have an edition of Bhagavad Gita as it is by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in front of you. Hard copy. I thoroughly, very much recommend that you have it in front of you. I am speaking from that. All these information is from that. It's a very bona fide edition, spoken by a pure devotee of the Lord, the type of person whom Krishna is speaking about in Bhagavad Gita repeatedly. And by reading that, you will instantly, quickly pick up and understand. So I strongly recommend you have that in front of you. And if you don't have that temporarily, you can look online. Okay? So this sloka starts with Arjuna being told by Krishna, don't think acting properly is so easy. Don't think it's easy. Why? Even the most intelligent people, most well-read, educated people, not in online businesses or in, vaccine production and pharmas or high-tech and that type of education. Vedic times, people got educated in the absolute truth, understanding the truth. Speaking about that type of persons who are pretty much well educated, even they flounder, even they stumble. Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayo apyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshayami yajnatva mokshayate ashubhat. This is a very beautiful statement Krishna is making here. And he's saying, you will be surprised to know some of those great persons whom you think are really great, they will not know what to do and what not to do. Kim karmeti, kim akarmeti. What to do and what not to do. Even these great people will get flummoxed. Just like you don't know what to do and what not to do. You are the great Arjuna, the wielder of the Gandiva bow, the person who single-handedly destroyed and sent back the entire Kaurava army from Virata's kingdom. You are flummoxed. You don't know what to do and what not to do. What to speak of anybody else. Kim karmeti, kavayo apyatra mohita. Kavayo means very learned people. Mohita means they become confused. Tatte aham pravakshyami yajnatva. I am going to explain to you the intricacies of that, how to actually navigate through and do the right thing and achieve success. I am just wondering what amazing stuff Krishna is speaking, no? Whole world is talking about all these great management guys, institutions and that and this are talking about how to do, how to make profits, how to run the organization, how to run society. They don't care to read the Bhagavad Gita. Such amazing information. You know, in my last, before the lockdown, I was in America about 2 years. It's somewhere in 2018. And one of the devotees said that we are working with a very big, elderly, very experienced management professor. I think her name is something Rowe. who has taken a fascination for Bhagavad Gita because she read it and said, what are you guys doing? You're the guys who are supposed to be teaching. Why are you not teaching Bhagavad Gita openly in the institutions? And she took it up herself and said, this is such valuable information spoken here. And according to her understanding, she took and she started teaching. They said, you guys, what are you doing? You religious people are all like this. You don't understand. And she got the stuff. She sort of understood many of these things from her experience. And she said, people need to know these things. And at that time, I was telling, my gosh, we are not taking it up to that level in the academic level and told people. He said, exactly. There's so much of important stuff. Somebody has to see it. So what we are discussing today is amazing information. What we've been discussing is also unavailable information. So Krishna is speaking here. Watch carefully what he's saying. Even the very intelligent people don't know what to do and what not to do. Okay? So here goes. Who wants to read this? Yeah, go ahead. Shalini.
Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune.
Thank you, Shalini. Oh, you may think, oh, what's so great about action? I mean, I get up every morning, I go to work, I go to the toilet, I brush my teeth, I do all my actions nicely, look after my body very well. I do exercise, I go to the gym, I got all my children very happy, my wife is very satisfied with me, my job is very good, I'm an employer and people love me underneath, What's so great about I'm doing a perfect action? Everybody thinks like that. I have a little problems, that's okay, but I know how to manage it. But this is exactly what Krishna is talking about. And we're going to go a little further and also see how Krishna is expounding and opening up this beautiful topic of what to do and what not to do, how to navigate through, right? So if you open your book, you will see this. In that particular shloka, Krishna, Prabhupada is explaining, I'm just going to read a little bit from the purport here carefully, and if you have your book, you can open it up. We have read till now about that knowledge which is transcendental and which is very important. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying, action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accordance with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. If you remember, previously, you heard that Krishna is saying, Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairabi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvahi purvataram kritam. He's telling you do like all these great persons did in the past and achieved success. All those ancients, you should perform your duty in this divine consciousness. Okay? And we examined how that particular information and knowledge is coming down and how Krishna is revealing himself as the truth. And he's saying, this is what you should do. If you go to the purport there, he's saying, this is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the text to follow. Then, in the second paragraph, to act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in the line of disciplic succession, as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. Sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ikshvaku, and the system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. I'll pause here. Willy-nilly, anybody cannot come and teach Bhagavad Gita to you. Every Tom, Dick and Harry who claims to be a so-called scholar because I've done my PhD in Bhagavad Gita, no, he will not know it. Only if you come in the line of these great teachers, will you know it. That is how Krishna has locked it, password protected it. Only this line of great pure devotees, only they can understand and relate it to you. And today you are getting that same explanation coming from such a great personality, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has been able to preach this Bhagavad Gita all over the world. In 87 languages, this Bhagavad Gita is printed. And it is understood by so many people all over the world. It's just that you and me, although born in India, are getting to know it only now. That's why I say, please keep that book with his commentary in front of you. Going back again, otherwise even the most intelligent men will be bewildered regarding the standard actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly, so that nobody comes in between. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. Mohita. You will not be bewildered if you follow what Prabhupada is saying. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principles of religion can only be laid down by the Lord himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam, from Srimad Bhagavatam. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, Kumara, Kapila, Prahlada, Bhishma, Shukadeva Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, Bali Maharaja. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotees, the Lord explains directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence. Okay, I'm reading the purport to you because it is important for us to understand. And immediately it follows by karmano api bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanas cha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. Right. Please read. Who can read? Who wants to read?
I'll read,
Yeah,
Maharaj.
go ahead. Go ahead, Sunita.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
Thank you, Sunita. So see, the first warning he's given is, it's not easy to know it. Don't think you know it. It is the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know three things: what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Three things, remember. Normally, everything, whatever activity you perform, can be classified under the word karma. In Sanskrit, the word karma means action, activity. But that action that you do could be of three types. It could be actions that you do according to the duties revealed in the scripture. This is what we understood in second chapter, sakama karma. I'm supposed to do this, I have to do this. If I do this properly, I will also enjoy materially what I need and get my material needs, plus I will be on the path to spiritual progress. Because it is mentioned in the scripture. That is the direction for humanity. What you should do as a human being from the scripture, that is called karma. And it involves also you doing something material and getting the benefit out of it for your material existence, for your peaceful existence. Direct opposite to this is vikarma. What the scriptures say you must not do. Actions which are performed by misuse of one's freedom, which Prabhupada calls here in the purport forbidden action. So there are lots of things that people are doing now that is forbidden action, because of which the world is suffering, because the leaders don't know what is right action, what is wrong action. And so they'll end up doing lots of forbidden stuff and people suffer. If you lead and if you don't know what is action, what is inaction, kim karameti, kima karameti, kavayo apyatra mohita. Even educated people get confused what to speak about our leaders. Right? Even they get confused. And normally you will think, yeah, these are the only two things, what to do and what not to do. These are the two things. No, there is one more, which is the real secret of action. It's called akarma, inaction. Actions which free one from the cycle of birth and death. Actions which are in the absolute plane. Actions which are in Krishna consciousness. Actions which are neither karma nor vikarma, but an act of free will under the understanding of the constitutional position of you being a part and parcel of Krishna. Mama ivam sajiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana, which Krishna mentioned. According to your identity as spirit soul and your connection with God, Krishna, you have certain job description, because that is your real ID. And from your real ID follows your job description. That is called akarma. Krishna is now explaining amazing things. So you understood, you thought normally there's only karma and vikarma. There is one more. And Krishna is explaining that. And he's explaining, you have to be careful, because there is a law functioning, the law of material nature. Everything you do has got a result. And why it is called akarma, the third one, is because that does not have a material result. And therefore, it has got nothing to do in the material world. That is the secret. And a person who does that type of action, akarma, he navigates very intelligently out from here. That is the secret Krishna is explaining. And he's coming back to that again and again. He explained this earlier in the second chapter also in a slightly different way, in an overview. And in third chapter also he explained it. Now he is nailing it and saying that you may know about karma, you may know about vikarma, but you must know that there is also something called akarma. And that is the reason why you must fight. You must also fight because of karma. It's your duty as a Kshatriya. But actually, the greater way to understand it, you must fight because it is akarma. Why? It is service to me. Because I have come here, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. I am looking out for somebody who will act as my instrument. If you be that person, anything that you do will not be tainted with any material reaction. Okay? That's interesting to know. Really interesting. Why? Now he goes ahead. If you go, he explained these three, and then he's saying in text 18, open up 18. Karmanya karmaya pashet akarmini cha karmaya sabuddhiman manusheshu sayukta krishna karmakrit. He's speaking about the intelligent person who understands this and acts. What does the translation say? One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Now, this is important to know. I will read the purport, follow carefully. It's a short purport. A person acting in Krishna consciousness or akarma is naturally free from the bonds of karma. His activities are all performed for Krishna. Therefore, he does not enjoy or suffer any of the effects of work. Consequently, he is intelligent in human society, even though he is engaged in all sorts of activities for Krishna. So you'll see devotees of the Lord are engaged in doing many things, like we are doing here. We're building a big building here, a temple, and it's got a lot of activities in it. We are building 1.5 lakh square feet of space. And we are all involved in it, collecting funds, dealing with contractors, dealing with engineers, architects, everything. Sometimes people look and say, what's the difference between you and me? You're also dealing with the architect, with the contractor, you're negotiating, you're dealing with money matters, property matters, everything. What's the difference between you and me? I'm also doing that. There is a difference. What's that difference? We're not doing it for ourselves. I'm not getting any material profit out of it. I'm taking all the pain, the anxiety, everything, and so also others who are here, my friends here. But what we're trying to do is to award a place for Krishna for his new residents. And lots of people will come to see him. And then we will be able to teach them all Bhagavad Gita, and they'll all become devotees of Krishna, and they'll become persons who will smartly act in akarma, and they will liberate themselves. So this is service to Krishna. But what you are doing, you're actually doing business, money, and everything, which is nice. You're a nice citizen and everything. But all of it is meant for your own purpose. And because of that, in that, if you make a mistake, you'll get karma. If you get involved with the wrong partner, or if you get involved in the wrong way, or if you get misdirected, or if something happens, you will get a reaction for that. And then the profits that come out of it may also confuse you more. And there are other things that you will do because of that. And a line of actions will be created, which will all have reactions. But what we do for Krishna has no reaction in this world, because it is meant for Krishna. Just like I give you an example. I gave you this bit previously also. Soldier is fighting for the country. He's maybe on the border now, somewhere there up at the China border, in the borderline. And he has to face fire, bullets, something. And he also kills. With one round, he'll be shelling. He may be a sniper shooting from somewhere and killing, knock, 1, 2, 3, 4, down. Some of the important people from that side, he shoots from here, hiding behind. And he knocks a lot of them. He's killing them, murdering them, you can say. And when he comes back, he gets Paramveer Chakra. Fantastic, you did. Is he involved in karma for killing those soldiers? He's not, because he's doing it for the country under the dictation of higher forces. And you can say that I did not kill on my own. What thrill am I going to get killing some Chinese guys on the border? But it's for the country that I'm doing. And therefore I kill them and I come back, I'm rewarded for it. I'm rewarded for it. Why? Nobody says you killed the guy very bad. My wife doesn't say you kill people very horrible. She's happy to come with you, Paramveer Chakra, and along with you get the chakra and see my husband is amazing. And all the children will be very happy. The whole nation will be happy. Everybody thinks you're a great person. Why? Although you killed, you did for the country. Similarly, although I may do this building, that thing, this thing, any devotees do, all these miscellaneous things, I don't do for myself. I do it for glorifying Krishna. So I have no reaction coming from that. Simple to understand. Right. So akarma means without reaction to work. The impersonalist sees its fruitive activities out of fear so that the resultant action may not be stumbling block on the path of self-realization. But the personalist knows rightly his position as the external servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Because everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in the discharge of his service. Those who are engaged in this process are known to be without desire for personal gratification. The sense of eternal servitorship to Krishna makes one immune to all sorts of reactionary elements of work. This is a secret you should know. Everybody should do some amount of akarma in his life, devotional service. Otherwise, life will become more complicated. And such a person, he goes further. You can see in 20, the characteristics of such a person who does that. You will see, Tyaktva akarma phala sangam nityatripto nirashayah karmanya vipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. That person who is very nicely doing only akarma as much as possible. Then 21, Nirashiryata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kuruvannapnoti kilbisham. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled. gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Right? So now on the screen, he goes further to talk about the qualities of that person who has understood akarma and is navigating himself. What is that person achieving? What is his quality? Yadrichalabha santushto dvandvatito vimatsarah samah siddhau asiddhau chakritvapi na nibhadyate. Yes, go ahead and read, please. Who wants to read? Jaya, no, okay, go ahead. You raised your hands. I can't see your name, but please go ahead and read.
He who is satisfied with gain, which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Thank you,
Bhairavi. Right. These are qualities of that person. Yadricha labha santushtaha. Yadricha labha means whatever I get by the arrangement of the Lord, I'm happy with it. It means he cultivates satisfaction. Being happy with what you have and what Krishna has arranged for you materially, that's enough. Okay, that's what I'm supposed to get, that's fine. I'm focusing on the higher stuff. This is the smartness of this person. Hey, he has got better than me. This fellow has got a violet one. He has got that car. Get screwed up. Attachment, desire, comparing yourself, all that. This person is very smart. He says, okay, whatever I can get a little something, fine, Krishna, if that's what you want to give me. But I'll focus on Krishna consciousness. Santushtaha, I'm happy with whatever, yadricha labha. So in the Bhagavatam it is said that satisfaction is like a footwear. If you don't have footwear, everywhere you walk, you'll have to go on pebbles, stones, thorns, twigs, rough ground, there's everything. It's difficult to walk. It's painful walk. But if you have a footwear, you can go boldly anywhere and you go over pebbles, stones, thorns, everything. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't stop you. It doesn't hinder your walking. So satisfaction is like a footwear, the Bhagavatam says. It is actually Vamanadev telling Bali. For many of you are Kerala people, this is a conversation in the Bhagavatam when Bali is offering, I can give you much more than 3 steps. You're a small boy, you don't know what to ask of me. And then Vamanadev very nicely says, he's a young boy, right? Vamana, dwarf. So he says, no, my dear king, a Brahmana should be very satisfied with the minimum. Sarkara kantakadibhyo yatopanam padashivam. In the padashivam means padarakshakam. Sarkara kantakadibhyo. Kantaka means thorns and stones and all that can be overcome by a footwear. Similarly, if we have satisfaction, we can overcome any situation materially. It's an art of living happily, even though you may not have much. Just an adjustment inside. He's speaking here, Krishna is speaking that yadricha labha santushtaha. This person who's in Krishna consciousness doesn't waste time materially. Okay, whatever available, fine. Dvandvatito vimatsaraha. This duality, good, bad, better, I did not get that, this is black, that is white and all, he doesn't get involved in that. Vimatsaraha. Matsara means enviousness. I am not, somebody has got something better than me materially. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to put my energy into thinking, how did you get better? You got better karma. You have a better situation. I'm not going to go on that trip. I'm not going to go that route. I am going to focus. So he is Vimatsaraha. Samasiddhau asiddhau cha. He is free in both in success and failure. Siddha means success. Asiddha means no success, failure. He never gets entangled materially, although he is performing. You see the quality of that person. He knows how to step over. He knows what are all the trappings of matter and material nature. And he can just skip over, jump over, and navigate himself. He never gets entangled. He's very smart in what he does. And Krishna goes, such a person who keeps doing like this in 23 and 23 also will see the same thing about that person mentioning. Such a person's activities, this is a very famous shloka you must have heard, many people would have heard this. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagno brahmana hutam brahmaiva tena gantavyam bharma karma samadhina. Krishna is explaining everything that that person does is Brahman. It's absolute. His action, his choices, his breathing, walking, talking, eating, everything he does is not material, because his intention is to focus on offering everything to the Supreme Brahman. So everything he does is merged into Brahman, into the absolute. In other words, his actions are all akarma. In another place in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna will ask, what is the meaning of such a person? How does he act? What does he talk and all that? Sita prajna ka bhasha samadhis tatsya keshava sitadhir munirichyate. We heard that in the 2nd chapter. And again, you will hear that in the 15th chapter also. Such a person is breathing, walking, smelling, eating, talking, everything is Brahman, because he does everything for the purpose of the Supreme Lord in service, right? That is very interesting to know. This person has perfected his activity in the material world to only focus very intelligently. He never do anything fruitively so that it will implicate him and he has to come back to enjoy even the result of pious karma. He doesn't want to come here even to enjoy happiness, material happiness. Why should I waste my time here again, man? I would get the hell out of here. And therefore, I would always do only those activities that are offering to the Lord. Krishna is glorifying that intelligent person who knows how to act under his instruction and is acting. Just understand very carefully what Krishna is explaining. This is very beautiful, very interesting information given to us. Okay, so please read that. Who would like to read that? I'm not able to see the names of people here. Why? Who likes to read that? Nair, Jaya Nair, you want to read?
Yes, sir. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature.
Thank you, Jaya. So, Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahmakarma Samadhina. Very famous shloka. And people misinterpret this wrongly also. Here, Krishna is completely developing this whole thing. You can see all the characteristics, everything is explained of akarma activity. And this person is fully absorbed in that. He will definitely get this final destination. Why? Because his activities are all spiritual. He's keeping it on the Brahman platform. And he's absorbed in it. He doesn't see anything else. He doesn't get attracted to anything else because he's got himself fixed in that. Such a person is this Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Otherwise, he can't go to America when he's 70 years old in a cargo ship. And in the ship get 2 massive heart attacks. He's traveling alone. Massive heart attacks. He records in his diary. Very horrible, severe thing I went through. And then he lands up in America with $6 in his pocket, which in those days calculated to be 42 rupees. He goes there and lands up. He doesn't know anybody, what some distant contact is waiting for in the harbor. And he's taken all the way to Boston. From Boston, he's taken, and he travels another 24 hours in a bus. He didn't have an airplane flight at that time to take. Today, if I go to Boston, I got to go to so-and-so place, I take a flight. But he took a public bus. The person who came to pick him up arranged a public bus to come and meet me in this bus stand here. He took a bus and traveled for the next 10 hours by a bus. With such frail health, he lands up there and he is asked to stay along with somebody, a couple. And he continues to stay there. They have a small child and everything. He's living with them in the family. A sannyasi, very senior person. He cooks his own food. And he does his own activities and sits and writes every day. And over a period of time, they get tired of him. How can we keep an old man in our house? So slowly, he has to move out of that. He has no place to stay in America. Doesn't know anybody. But he goes on fixed. I will preach the Bhagavad Gita and Krishna consciousness here in this country. He goes from place to place. He's kicked from place to place, actually. And he's selling his books in the bookshop and getting little money for his food. He doesn't know this place at all. He has never been out of the country before. He's a 70-year-old man. Very confident about what he's doing. And then he has a stroke after 1 year. Left side paralyzes completely. And while they're taking him to the hospital, the few people who know him, he's telling, see, this body is useless. He's speaking Bhagavad Gita using his situation. And they're all stunned. What a man this man is. I'm taking him to the hospital. It's a life and death situation. He's speaking spirituality. They're all stunned. He's saying, see, this body is just jada. It's made of matter. Whatever happens to this body doesn't matter. The soul is supreme. The soul, and he starts talking Bhagavad Gita. And then he goes ahead after that for the next 11 years to travel around the world 12 times and establish 108 centers of ISKCON, Krishna consciousness, and writes 82 volumes of books and travels all over the world and meets so many people. He's just fixed in what he's doing. Heart attack, stroke, that, this, nothing got him. He goes ahead. This is the meaning of Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havid, Brahma Ivatena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. Prabhupada is an amazing example. That's why I strongly recommend you read his life history. They published it in 6 volumes called Leelamrita. And they also, it's condensed into 1 volume called Prabhupada Biography. It's an amazing account of right from his younger ages, how this person was very different from everybody else, although he was doing everything like normal in the world. Right? So that's what he's saying here. If you go to the purport here, very interesting purport written by Prabhupada in 24. How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere, and yet he has to get out of such an environment. I think somebody has got two systems on and there's an echo. Yeah, thank you. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. It's just that Prabhupada has coined a new terminology fit for the modern world. Today, consciousness is a fiery buzzword topic discussed by science, by philosophers, by artificial intelligence people, everybody trying to crack what is consciousness. But Prabhupada has explained this right from 50 years back. He started using it. And he knew people will want to know what this consciousness is. And he's explaining it. He's using that word 50 years back. He started using it. It's very amazing. So it's a word he coined to explain that topmost level of consciousness of a perfected being, a perfected human being in this world. So you hear this, very beautiful. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds. If you eat too much of cheese, butter, ghee and everything, your stomach will get upset. But what the Ayurvedic doctor will tell you is to take curd rice with pepper and some salt in it. And you'll wonder, no, it's dairy product that has spoiled my stomach. In Western medicine, they'll say, it's dairy, I should keep away from dairy. No, it's not dairy. You take curds. It will nullify that effect. So Prabhupada is using that example and saying, the materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness as set forth here in the Gita. This process is generally known as yajna, or activities, sacrifices, simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. What? Same things that you're doing for yourself only you do, but you do it for Krishna. Same milk product only you take for curing your stomach, but it is curds. It is cultured, fermented curds. It's the same milk product. Same body, same mind, same intelligence you use, and same material word and material objects you use, but you don't take gratification out of it for yourself. You offer it to Vishnu, Krishna. That is like yogurt. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness of a Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. This is the trick. This is the hack. The word Brahma, Brahman means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual and the rays of his transcendental body are called Brahma Jyoti, his spiritual effulgence. Everything that exists is situated in that Brahma Jyoti. But when the Jyoti is covered by illusion, Maya or sense gratification, it is called material. It's illusion only for you, for the people in this world. When you look at the sun, sometimes is covered by clouds, isn't it? Oh, it's cloudy, you can't see the sun. Same way, it is not that if you see the covering is very close to the human being, but from the clouds to the sun is, millions of miles away. But the clouding is very close to you. In fact, if you go in the flight, you can go through it, through the clouds, right? So the covering is created by you only here. It is not that the sun is creating an illusion for itself. If you go above the clouds, the sun is still visible very nicely, no problem. When you go on a flight, you can go above the clouds. It's perfectly sunny and everything is fine. So covering is done by you and your attitude and your vision and perception of the truth. And that is called Maya. Because of that, the spiritual looks like material for you. Because anything that comes from the Supreme is spiritual. But the way you look at it makes it material. Why? You look at it as something for me to enjoy. When you look at it in terms of gratification for yourself, it becomes material. Then material laws start working. This is deep philosophy, deep theology that's being spoken by Krishna. So, Maya clouds it, the truth for you. And it's mentioned here, it becomes material. This material veil can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. Thus, the offering for the sake of Krishna consciousness, the consuming agent of such an offering or contribution, the process of consumption, the contributor and the result, all combined together, Brahman or the absolute truth. Now you understand. While you're on this side with the clouds covering it, you can do a sunny activity of offering everything to the Supreme. And you can be freed from the cloudy material perception. Everything you do is absolute if you do it as an offering to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. The absolute truth covered by Maya is called matter. Now you understand? This is scientific definition. This is science. When the living entity's soul sees in a deformed way the truth covered by material illusion, it becomes material. That's when he sees matter. That's when his mind, he is thinking of enjoying that matter. But that is a will of the wisp. It's a mirage. And he goes behind it life after life. He's never satisfied. But here what Krishna is saying is, don't go behind that mirage. Cut through the clouds and get to the sun. Perform smart activity. You do this Krishna consciousness and you'll cut through this illusion and you'll be exposed to the sun, just like the flight can go above the clouds. Right? So the Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman or the Supreme. When the mind is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it is said to be in samadhi or in trance. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yajna or sacrifice for the absolute. In that condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the performer or leader of the performance and the result or ultimate gain, everything becomes one in the absolute, the Supreme Brahman. That is the method of Krishna consciousness. I think you understand now. Such a beautiful explanation. Krishna is telling Arjuna now, you fight for that reason. Not ordinary fight. Don't fight like a soldier, come back and get your salary and go home with Paramveer Chakra alone. You fight for a higher purpose. You're getting flummoxed because you're thinking about all these lower purposes. You can do smart fighting as a soldier. Fight for the Supreme, fight for Brahman. All your actions become transcendental. Now you understand what Krishna is trying to advise. So this is very important for us to know. Having endeavored to explain that to you, I'm summing up here. So Krishna is telling that person who is acting in Krishna consciousness, who is doing an akarma activity, under the direction and inspiration of all these famous great personalities, in this instance, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada coming in that line, is inspired by that. And he will, if he starts acting like that, he will have no desire for his own gratification because he'll get a lot of happiness out of doing it for the Supreme. He will easily be able to abandon attachment to even the results. I win or I lose. I'm acting for the country. I am going to fire. And I fire, we lost the war, we came back. It doesn't matter, I did my job. He abandons attachment to the results. He has no sense of proprietorship over any tools, instruments, or objects he uses in the material world for the sake of this job, including his body. He doesn't think it belongs to me, it belongs to Krishna, he thinks. He is freed from duality and envy. I explained that to you. No sinful reactions for him at all. So Arjuna, please fight like that, a much higher sophisticated way of acting, akarma. This is exposed by Krishna, right? So I'm going to quickly call upon you now to tell me, I'll stop sharing so that I can see you also. You got an understanding. Karma, akarma, vikarma. Action as per scripture for the sake of varnashrama and doing both material and spiritual and being balanced and having material enjoyment within the boundaries, plus being on the path, which is a slow path. That is karma. The karma is direct opposite. Like in the world, you have many examples of that, all sorts of guys doing all sorts of things, marketing vaccines and making money out of it when actually they don't know what this is or what that is. And, all sorts of things they do for the sake of making money. And they don't mind hordes of people dying, out of this. Anyway, I don't want to speak much about it, but and all sorts of people do all ugra karma, horrible, unbeneficial activities that Krishna speaks about in the 16th chapter also, you will see that. So vikarma, there is plenty of examples. Then akarma, which you have learned today. Every one of us should perform some amount of akarma in our daily life. It's important for us to actually do this. If you don't, you may actually suffer. There will be problems for you, and I'll tell you why. Let's quickly see if you can spot now a difference? I'm giving you a quick quiz. Okay, let me say, you do vastra danam. You give clothes to some poor people or in a temple. What type of activity is that? Karma, vikarma, akarma. Which one is
Akarma.
that?
Karma. Akarma.
Is it akarma? Okay.
It
Who else?
can,
Anybody else? Is that
uh,
akarma or karma or vikarma? Go ahead, Gayatri.
it can be either, it can be any of them, because it really
No, I
depends
want one
on
answer from you.
No, what I mean to say, a person can do this for, to gain something. That can be like a karma, just for his own benefit. Like maybe someone has told, a priest or someone has told you, do a vastadanam and you gain something out of it. So that is his intention. But it can be a karma as well, because it depends on the person, their intention of, doing the donation. So it can be both.
Okay. I just want a direct, simple answer because Vastradhanam is very popular.
Karma.
I'm talking in terms of that. Or look at
Karma.
this. You do Annadhanam. Or you do, okay, right here. Genocide. Mass amount of people killed somewhere due to somebody giving the wrong vaccine or somebody plotting something, a test or something, and all sorts of things going on. Right now, the Uyghur Muslims are being used for all sorts of things in China, and the whole world is opposing it because you're using them for labor of this sort. You are putting them in confinements. You're doing this, not. You're actually doing genocide. Mass amount of Muslims you want to exterminate. You're doing. So what is this?
Vikarma.
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 It's obviously Vikarma. Okay.
Vikarma.
It's easy. I know all of you know that. Worship of demigods for fulfilling one's desires.
Karma.
Karma.
It's
Karma.
karma. Okay. Shravanam, I'm hearing stories of Krishna. Leela.
Karma.
Akarma.
Akarma.
Akarma. Yes. Tree planting
Akarma.
for the sake of
Akarma.
giving shade.
Akarma.
Karma. Karma.
This as well can be
Karma and
as
akarma.
both. Yes.
Is it karma or is it akarma? Any one only it is.
Karma.
It's both. It's both.
Farmer means karma.
It is
For the
karma.
future generation. If
You're
I
doing a good job. It will give you a good punya. In the next life, you can come back and you can enjoy. It's actually karma.
Karma.
Okay. Just like Vastradhanam is also karma. You're making a nice pond, a lake, and so that it will beautify the park and the area around you, and people can take morning walks, and birds will come and coo, and there'll be swans and ducks and all sorts of things. What's that?
Karma.
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 You are actually going to McDonald's or you're going to a slaughterhouse.
Vikarma.
And you're
Vikarma.
thinking to buy
Vikarma.
some mutton.
Vikarma.
Da, 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 da.
Vikarma.
Sorry for asking this question. What is it?
Vikarma.
Vikarma.
Delicate
Vikarma.
question, right?
Vikarma.
I know. I'm sorry. It is. What is it?
Karma.
Vikarma? Okay, we'll get back to that. Harinama Sankirtana, you're doing.
Karma.
Karma.
Because in Kali Yuga it is mentioned that is a Yuga Dharma. That is a karma. You do service to one's country.
Karma.
Akarma.
Karma. Karma.
You clean the temple of
Akarma.
Vishnu using a broom.
Karma.
You do smaranam of your extramarital affair that you're having, that lady.
Vikarma. Vikarma.
Vikarma.
Okay, you're looking after your children.
Karma.
So sort of, you're paying up your taxes.
Karma.
Karma.
Okay, you sort of got it. So we are understanding today that if you act in this world, you can do it in 3 ways: karma, vikarma, and akarma. You should move towards increasing which type of activity?
Akarma.
Akarma. The more you increase that type of activity, the more you displace, of course, vikarma, many of you may not be doing. The more you displace even the karma stuff, the regular stuff, the more you increase vikarma, the smart action you will be doing. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. So, coming back, look at your everyday life. At the end of the day, make a pie chart. What percentage is karma? What percentage is akarma? What percentage could be vikarma? I think you may not do vikarma, but still, what percentage could be? It would be an interesting way for you to study how smart is your action. And every day, every week, every month, at the end of life, you'll know where you're going for sure. You don't need to go to Jyotishan. You don't need to go to the astrologer. If you can manage this, you can change your horoscope. That Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchah. If you, in the 18th chapter is telling, if you do this akarma stuff and surrender to me, even if you have accumulated some bad karma by sinful activities that you did, I'll wipe it out. Because I am in charge of your bank account. I know how to remove your vikarma reactions. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. All the sinful activities you have done, due to which reactions are waiting for you, I'll wipe it out for you. If you completely focus on akarma. Can you imagine this amazing statement? He can change your horoscope. He will do that. He's telling, because you're my devotee and you want to come on the right path, forget what you did wrong. But if you take it up now, and if you do so, sometimes devotees wonder, oh, I did this, I've done this, I've done that. Doesn't matter. Surrender now to Krishna. Start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Start increasing this Krishna conscious activity in your life. Read the Bhagavad Gita. Associate with devotees who are reading. Exchange your realizations. Get together and do some seva for Krishna. Let's distribute this Bhagavad Gita. Let's enroll some people for this close and expose them to Bhagavad Gita. It's a service I can do for God. It is Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. It is absolute work. Let me add some absolute work every day. Let me worship Krishna. Let me sing his glories. Let me read the Bhagavad Gita. Let me speak about Krishna to somebody else on the phone. Let me take him to the temple. Let me enroll him for this course. Let me give him some prasadam. All these become absolute activity, akarma activities. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, that's why he started the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, where anybody and everybody can come and start doing some akarma in their life. So all sorts of people come here and they pick up the broom, they sweep the front, somebody cleans on their own this thing, somebody does all sorts of things. They distribute Bhagavad Gita to others. They do so many things because everybody wants to increase their bank balance of akarma. So Prabhupada facilitated this Krishna consciousness movement for everybody to be able to accumulate some sukriti. Sukriti means some bank balance of akarma. And sometimes you do ajnata sukriti. Unknowingly you do absolute activity. You just, you gave me that Bhagavad Gita, I don't read it, I just gave it to my cousin. She's reading it. I think she's attending a session. But I don't read it. But I became instrumental in giving it unknowingly to my cousin. You have done absolute activity without even you knowing it. The meaning of the spiritual activity is so much that even if you do the smallest thing, Krishna gives you credit for it. Even unknowingly. Okay, so you can imagine how important it is for a human being to perform this activity of akarma in your life. And don't make akarma look like a generous, pious, charitable activity. It is not. It is directly service to Krishna. That's what Vastra Dhanam need not be akarma. Vastra Dhanam for the Lord, that in the temple you see him, costume for him, Vastra Dhanam, that is akarma. Maybe costume for the person who's serving the Lord every day there, that also could be akarma. For you, Prabhu, dhotis, like somebody keeps giving me my veshti, my dhoti, this, I don't even care about it. And my assistant picks up and I don't even know who's giving it sometimes, but I am engaging everything somehow or the other. So it is akarma. For persons absorbed and doing things, even though they may not be greatly perfect, but since they have dedicated themselves, it's akarma. But if you give Vastradhanam in the poor area for people who are suffering, which is also very good. I'm not saying it's bad. It will only accumulate your piety. Material piety it will accumulate for bank balance. And the next time you take birth, you will never suffer without clothes. The good thing that you have done will come back to you in the form of good material facility. But the service you do for Krishna cannot bring you back to this world. It has to take you back to the spiritual world only. That's why Prabhupada is saying there is no karma for any akarma activity. There is no reaction in this world. So he's telling Arjuna, act, do akarma so that you can be promoted. Right? Do you understand the hack? This is the secret. I'm helping you hack through. Jai. Okay, thank you.